All right. So, hi everyone. Today I've got Laura here. Laura's been in our program for about 10 weeks now, and Laura's going to talk to us all about her experience in the program, what results she's achieved, and yeah, basically how it's been going. So, first of all, Laura, would you mind just introducing yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Laura. I'm recently turned 39, goodness. So I have two small children and I've been exercising with Karen for quite a long time, but realized, a few years ago, I'd put on some weight before I had the kids. So probably about 10 years ago, I'd lost weight with a previous weight loss program, but found I got very hungry and it was very unsustainable. Before I fell pregnant with my first child, I was putting on a bit of weight, and then you have to sort of go through the second kid, you realize, okay, yep, still having a bit more weight. And haven't really been able to move it and haven't really been committing to moving it. And so I thought, look, I love working with Karen. She said she was doing this new program. I thought this sounds really interesting. And I know that Karen's very good at designing a good program and keeping people very accountable. And it also sounded very nutrition focused, which is what I really wanted, because I like the accountability and I really need someone to help me work out my food so that it works best for me. I wanted something sustainable. I didn't want something where I was starving for a few months and then when you go back to normal life, you just go back to what you were before. So I wanted something that was going to be a big change, but a healthy change. So that's what really drew me to the program.
Awesome. So, in terms of things that you've tried in the past to lose weight, can you just tell us a little bit more about what you've tried in the past?
So I did a very reputable, I won't use the name necessarily, general weight loss program. They have the initials MB, and I was very successful. I lost 10 kilos on that, but it requires you to have 1,200 calories a day. It requires you to have any skim milk products, really limit your food. And my issue was that it gives you a meal plan, but it's not necessarily things you want to eat. And so if it's not something you want to eat, you've got to work out something else. And when you finish with it and you've lost the weight, and I lost weight and I was happy with the weight loss, but there was a lot of exercise. You have to do a lot of exercise, obviously, to sustain the weight loss. But also once you finish, you don't really have the tools for how do I create my own recipes, or how do I deal with kind of if I'm going out, how do I sort of factor the day in to actually sustain it in normal life and sort of a maintenance mode. And I think as well, it was only really one snack a day, which I just don't find sustainable with two small children, because you're running around all the time, you're at the park, you're racing around. I find I get hungry. I wake up hungry. I've always had sort of a metabolism like that. I want to be able to eat regularly to sustain my body. And I don't think you could do that on a 1,200 calorie a day full life program. So while it's successful, I knew it wasn't something I wanted to do at this point in my life. And I also thought, how am I going to maintain that going forward throughout my life? Because right, you lose the weight, and then how do you actually go back into your normal life with that?
Yeah, that makes sense. When you can't eat enough calories in your day to sustain your energy, that makes it really difficult.
Yeah, definitely.
So what have you found that's been really, in terms of this program, first of all, why don't you tell us, so 10 weeks into the elite coaching program so far, can you tell us what results you've achieved?
Look, I've been so happy with the results. So I've lost 6 kilos, which I think is great because I haven't been hungry at all. So I think those are two amazing achievements. I've lost sort of 3 or 4 centimeters around both my chest and my waist, which again is quite an achievement. I fit back into my clothes, some of my pre-pregnancy clothes. Very excited about. I just feel generally a lot better. People are starting to say, hey, you're losing weight. And I said, yes, I am. So it's obviously becoming noticeable. I feel it. I can feel generally a lot better. So that's really exciting. I just sort of the regular sort of loss on the scales is really nice to see, and just generally feeling healthier and happier. I have a lot more energy. I'm sort of sleeping better. And I've been really, really excited with the results.
That sounds like all good things, definitely. And in terms of the program, can you tell me and, tell everyone else what's different about this program as opposed to ones that you've done in the past? What's been different that you can see that's going to sort of be different moving forward as well?
I think a few key differences. I think the support in this program is amazing. The one-on-one support, sort of the elite coaching part of it, has been wonderful. The constant check-ins, the constant encouragement's really nice. Every couple of days you get a text message, hey, it's looking great, keep going. Lots of resources, lots of check-ins, Facebook Lives, weekly success calls, all that stuff has been amazing. From the start, the setup was really clear. I knew what was going to happen. I knew how it was going to work. But I think the key thing for me is the food aspect of it. Karen gave us some suggested recipes, and you've just given us a wonderful new pack of whole pile of recipes, which is amazing. But it's not a meal plan. It's not eat this and this is how you'll achieve this, because obviously everyone's different and everyone likes different things. I'm a huge breakfast person. I love porridge. I have a big porridge breakfast. I like coffee. And then later in the day, I can kind of sort of take it or leave it. Everyone eats differently. Some people don't eat a big breakfast at 10 o'clock. I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock. So I want to have a snack then in the morning. What I like about it is it's kind of a jigsaw. You sort of look and go, okay, well, what do I like to eat? And factor that in, and then just work out the amounts of it. So that was the key thing for me. I knew a lot of what I was eating was healthy, but I was eating too much of it. It was trying to work out the portion size. And trying to work out a portion size, I suppose, in isolation isn't really helpful, because you can just be like, okay, I'll have this sort of how many calories, but then how does that fit in the rest of your day? And so what I love about this is you go, okay, well, here are the main meals I'm going to have. Here are the snacks I'm going to have. And you just move it all around a bit by a couple of grams here and there. I really like the jigsaw. I find the app really fun. And then it's all planned in, and then you just eat it, and it's all just planned. And it's food you have around your house. You don't have to go and buy some ridiculous ingredients that you'd never otherwise want to eat. I'm just not a big person. Like a lot of people love sort of eggs and toast in the morning. I just can't, that's not what I want. But I've been able to work out, okay, here's my porridge. I'm going to have the same thing every morning. I've worked out the amount that fits in with everything I need to do and plan around it. And you can still have the treats you want. You can still have a piece of cake. You just probably have a smaller piece, or you go, actually, if I have that, maybe that means that's afternoon tea and I'm getting quite hungry. So is that sort of the point of it? I suppose what I've been working out is, the amount of what I need in terms of a sweet treat can be much smaller and still very satisfying. And that's really exciting to me, because I've realized that everything I can be just as satisfied with smaller portions of things. And that's been a really key, I think, breakthrough for me, working out what that portion size looks like. Or a larger portion of something healthier and more sustainable. I had no idea how little protein I was eating. I think that's been really a key part of this, that the focus is on the protein, because that's the stuff that keeps you full, it sustains you and is best for your body. And you just don't realize, I suppose, a lot of my lunches probably didn't have much protein, which is prior. I was probably getting sort of 3 o'clock and really craving kind of something sugary and high energy, because I hadn't had a proper lunch that actually sustained me. Whereas now I find I have a proper lunch, with some protein in it and some veggies and some good sort of carbs. And then I don't really need a snack till 4:30. And then that keeps me going till dinner. And it's actually it's really sustainable. It's really good.
That's great. So in terms of, I know a lot of people can be daunted by tracking what they're eating. In terms of learning the process that we've taught you, in the program. So in terms of learning the nutrition program that we deliver, how did you find that?
Look, I found it was a bit of trial and error at the start. I think probably the week before we started, you suggested we kind of start tracking what you're currently eating. And so you go, oh, okay, right. So that amount of that equals that. And so you go, okay. Once you get your targets, what I found was super helpful, and that's why I think the program is so good, is that you were clearly checking in every couple of days, and you'd sort of send a little video or you send a message saying, okay, here's what you've planned. I've been trying to follow the program as you suggested, and I think that's why it's worked so well for me, because I've tried to access all the support and do the things that you've suggested. And so I planned a few days in advance, and so then you're able to look at it and go, okay, well, that might work, but that might be a bit, you said you're going to have 150 grams of fish. That's a great idea for your protein target, but that's probably going to be a lot of fish.
Yeah.
You were completely right. And so that was very helpful, to rather than me sort of sitting there trying to grind through 150 grams of fish and wondering why I couldn't do it. You made a lot of suggestions about tweaks, about sort of, okay, well, that might work, but that might not work. You might want to add something to this snack. You might want to add something to this meal. And that was really helpful because it made me work out, okay, here's a few tweaks. Here's how I can kind of keep on track. Here's some suggestions. So that really helped me in those first couple of weeks of sort of learning. And then I think, I personally, and I think we probably all are creatures of habit. You just get into okay, I like these kind of same things. So once you've worked out what those sort of things are and those amounts, you can tweak by 5 or 10 grams here and there, but you're going to be having a similar thing. So once you kind of get into the mode of, okay, here's the kind of things I'm going to eat, just plug those in. It just works quite easily, I find.
So what I've found with coaching a lot of women over the years is that when I teach this new method that they haven't potentially heard of before, of tracking your food and, making sure that you're hitting all your targets and things like that, it can be a little bit overwhelming and daunting to start with. And what I sort of find is that in this elite coaching program, when it is a new concept, generally the first 2 to 3 weeks are a little bit more full on. And then everyone starts to ease into it and to really understand what they need to do because of all of the one-to-one coaching that we offer. Did you find that when you were in the program?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think it can be a bit overwhelming just in terms of, okay, you've got to weigh everything, you've got to think about everything, and you're really having to plan it out. But I think that was definitely all the support those first few weeks. And I mean, the whole program, I feel so supported. And that's been so helpful. I know that you're only just a message away. You're constantly posting things. Slack is great because you just send a sort of little message, or you send a little video. That's been really nice. Suddenly I'll sort of get a text message with a little video going, hey, I've just looked at your chronometer, it's looking good. And that's just really nice. And I knew I could ask any questions. You get back to us really quickly, generally kind of offering just general tips and inspiration sort of throughout the week. Having the Facebook Live is really interesting because we've been learning a lot through those. But I just really, I feel very supported in the program. And because it is an individual program, I think that's the key part of it, because we're obviously all at slightly different points. We start at different points, we're going to end at different points, and we're going through different sort of processes. But I think it's been really helpful to have that, to know that someone is helping me, holding my hand through all of it in a really supportive way.
That's awesome. That sounds really good. So in terms of, because I know it can be a little bit daunting for someone who might be thinking about, doing a new program, but they're not sure what to do, or they're sitting on the fence about joining something like the Elite Coaching Program. What would you say to them in terms of, their fears or their concerns about joining?
I suppose what I'd say is it's a commitment, but you're never going to lose the weight if you don't commit to something. If you find it hard to do yourself, which I know I did, it's great to have a program where things are provided for you and you're supported, and someone is going to help you to reach your goals. You discuss at the start what your goals are, and then you're fully supported to meet those. That's the support in the program is amazing. I would definitely recommend that to anybody. But the second thing is the food. You're focusing on eating. It's not focusing on not eating, focusing on eating better and eating effectively. And that's been really different for me. And I think that's why I can see how you can sustain it going forward, because you're not starving. You're quite happily full. You can have what you want, just in moderation. So to me, it seems quite sustainable. It can be a bit overwhelming at the start. It involves a bit of planning. But once you get into that habit of it, it becomes really routine. And I can see for myself that the results are really clearly there. Without starving myself, without having to work out 3 hours a day. It fits into my lifestyle, it fits in with my kids, it fits in with my husband. The meals, Karen makes wonderful recipes, so all the recipes I've been trying are now firm favourites and family rotations. So that's great. So I'd say, look, I don't think you can't have any I haven't found anything negative about the program. I think it's wonderful, and I'd highly recommend it to anybody. And I think, anything's daunting when you first start, but if you go in with a positive attitude of, okay, well, I'm going to try this and I'm going to do follow what they've suggested, you really will get the results.
And that's the thing. I think you've hit the nail on the head where you said, if you do want to lose weight and you don't jump in and do something about it, then nothing is ever going to change. And sometimes I think people really do want it, but they're not quite sure 100% what it's going to be like when they jump in. So it's nice to hear from someone like you who's in the program at the moment and he's having a really good experience and can tell it exactly how it is. So that's great. So do you have anything else that you would like to say in terms of things that you've loved about the program, or little bits that you'd like to share with anyone else that might be interested to know a bit more about the program?
I have been thinking about it. So my new love of protein powder. I had no idea this wonderful protein powder could taste so good. But it can be just so filling, and you can just make a really easy shake with some protein powder and a couple of bits of fruit, and that's great for an afternoon snack. Just thinking about, I think that's the thing, thinking about the planning of snacks, thinking about the planning of meals, rather than just, I used to get to lunchtime and think, oh, I'm starving, I don't know what's in the fridge, and just make something. Now I know exactly what I'm going to have. I just go and make it. I mean, the ease of it, that's what I love. It's all planned. I know what I'm going to be eating for the day. So I just go, okay, what have I got to do? Weigh it out, done. And I can see how you can do that in terms of taking things, when you need to go back to work, when you need to, do things, you just plan it all out. I think also the support, I think also it's not isolated from the world. You're very realistic about, okay, well, what events have you got coming up? What are you going to be doing? So my birthday was coming up on the weekend, and you suggested a couple of weeks beforehand, because I'm in the kind of the cut phase, rather than just going splurging a bit and then sort of undoing all the hard work, plan for it during the week. So, sort of just eat a little bit less, plan for that. And I've done that. And that worked out really well. I tracked everything still on my, I had sort of a nice fancy afternoon tea, tracked all of that, and my weight loss is still continuing. So that for me is a really highlight of how this can be. And I had a great day. I was very happy. Had some cake, had some, lovely things, didn't feel deprived at all. and I'm still achieving the goals that I want to achieve. And that could have only happened with the support of this program. So
That's awesome.
I'm really happy with that.
That's really awesome to hear. And for you, you've had really consistent weight loss throughout your what we call the cut phase. So the time in the program where we do focus on the weight loss, you've had really consistent results with your weight loss because you have been really consistent to the program, and something like working towards the tracking has really worked for you, because I think maybe you're similar to me in that if I plan it out, then I don't have to think about it all day. I literally just do it.
Yeah, I love it.
And it's great.
It's so good. And I can see how, you can plan for things that come up. Most of the time we know when we're going out for dinner, or we know when we're going out for lunch. Very rarely in our lives it's a spontaneous, fancy 3-course dinner. Maybe not in other people's lives, not in my life. So, you know what's going to happen. You can plan for that. You can fit it in. You can work out how that's going to work. You don't need, I think you just don't need as much as you think you need. Or you kind of can't have it both ways. You kind of can't go, yes, I want to eat everything in the world and also lose weight. I don't think it's sustainable, but you can still have almost everything you want, just in moderation, and lose weight and feel good. And I think that's what the program is I'll be able to take this, through the rest of my life. And that's really exciting.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Laura. I really appreciate it. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen throughout the rest of the program for you. And it's been fantastic having you in the program, and just really excited for the future for you.
Oh, thanks, Karen. Really appreciate all your hard work.
Anytime. Okay.